your leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries. What's he waiting for?
I mean, it's only been 24 hours, so I think you got to give everybody a little time to space out these endorsements. But, we got to beat Donald Trump. I'm all in to get Kamala Harris over the finish line. She's a terrific candidate. She's going to be a great messenger for the issues that matter for my constituents. And I'm really excited about the energy we're seeing from the Democratic Party right now.
Well, your support is duly noted, Congressman. I just wonder what this range of opinions is in the House at this point. I realize that some folks were very concerned, some of your colleagues, about Joe Biden leaving. They wanted him to stay in the race. But now that he's out, Hakeem Jeffries is, looking forward to this meeting tomorrow with Kamala Harris. What is he going to learn that he doesn't already know? Do your colleagues have other candidates they'd like to see emerge?
I haven't heard of any. The names that you've heard have all endorsed Vice President Harris.
They sure have.
I think if anything, you're probably just seeing a good communication strategy of putting out endorsements at different times so folks can get some attention.
Well, as you say, the names that we've heard have endorsed her. That hasn't necessarily closed the door, though, to them joining her on the ticket if she's the presidential nominee. Another name that has been on the short list is the governor of your state, Roy Cooper. Would that be a smart selection?
I'm biased as a North Carolinian, but I think it would be absolutely the best choice for Vice President Harris. Governor Roy Cooper, North Carolina. The road to the White House runs through North Carolina. If Trump loses North Carolina, he has no path to the White House. Incredibly popular swing state governor. He's won 2 times in North Carolina on the same ballot that's elected Donald Trump. Very few people can say that. I'm a huge fan, and I'm very hopeful that we'll see a Harris-Cooper ticket.
Okay, and you think he can bring the state? Because Joe Biden was trailing Donald Trump in North Carolina. How does Kamala Harris stack up?
Well, I think right now we're just at a total reset.
Yeah.
But bringing Roy Cooper onto the ticket would move North Carolina even more into our column. It's the state that Trump won by the smallest amount in the last election, just 1.5 points. I think we are 1.5 points more towards the center in the next 4 years. Over the last 4 years, you add Roy Cooper to that, it's real bad news for Donald Trump and his allies.
Well, as we consider here the decisions that Kamala Harris still has to make, it's not just selecting a running mate, assuming that she will be the nominee, but she also has to decide how she's going to define herself or differentiate herself from a policy perspective from President Biden, whom she has served as vice president for the last 3.5 years. When it comes to some of the policies that you care about, crypto, for example, we talk to you about with frequency. Would you expect her to differ from the Biden administration? For example, would you think that she would allow Gary Gensler to continue on as chair of the SEC?
That's obviously an important issue to me. I fought so hard to get 71 Democrats to join with my Republican colleagues on Fit 21, the first time we've ever voted on crypto legislation. And I'm really hopeful that we're going to see a little bit of a reset from Vice President Harris. I'm working behind the scenes to encourage them to embrace digital innovation, to keep those jobs here in the United States. So I'm hopeful that we'll see, some good comments come out of this new campaign, because she is running in her own right, and that's an issue I think that really matters, especially because we're seeing Donald Trump going to Tennessee on Saturday to give a major speech on crypto. We can't let this be a partisan issue. It's got to stay in that bipartisan category.
Kamala Harris has been a proponent of decriminalizing, if not actually legalizing, cannabis as well, and has been an advocate for that issue. Pulled back seemingly a bit by Joe Biden from the stand that she took on the campaign trail in 2019. If elected, will she be the president to legalize marijuana?
That's one I haven't followed. But, I know in most of the country it's a very bipartisan and popular issue to decriminalize marijuana. And especially when we're talking about medical marijuana, I think that's friendly ground for folks on the federal level. Certainly, I can speak to that from
it's
personal
a mobilizing
experience.
issue for a lot of young Democrats.
It's a big deal.
A lot of old ones too.
It's a big deal, and if you want to get into why I care about it, my dad died of cancer. He used marijuana illegally at the time in his final days. Everybody ought to have that right. So I think that's one that is a very bipartisan issue. I'd imagine, we'll hear a lot about what she wants to do in her own right. Maybe that'll be one that makes the list.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of this will come down to Congress as well, as could be the case with crypto and the Fit 21 bill that you mentioned. I'd also like to ask you about what this Congress still could accomplish with Joe Biden, who has effectively, as of yesterday, made himself a lame duck president starting now. Do you see more opportunity for him to have further legislative accomplishments over the course of the next several months, or at least through the remainder of what will be his only term in the Oval Office?
He's said it himself. He is going to put everything he's got behind the next 6 months in office. He's going to be working to run through the tape at the end of December. So I'm really hopeful that we're going to get some things done. That lame duck session, after the election, we're back in November and December. That's one that, depending on the election outcome, could be really productive. I'm focusing on, moving a lot of bills. I think if you see a situation where we don't quite get the Senate, and we get the House, with a Harris Cooper administration, we get a lot done in a situation like that.
Would you work for a Harris Cooper administration?
Yeah,
I heard your dance card might be open after June.
I'm focusing on our Senate race in 2 years. We've got an open Senate seat coming up, and that's my focus. But I think it's just an exciting time. We got to get through this election first, though. That's the main goal. Is making a big case, talking about what matters. And for folks who care about the economy and business, I just want to remind them of one thing. Yeah. Donald Trump's 4 years in office were chaos, confusion. It was a dumpster fire. It was a constant fear of what crazy stuff's going to happen. I hope folks remember that when they look at this election, because the last 4 years have been, we've had bipartisan accomplishments. We've had an administration focused on doing the right thing. It has not been anything you could describe as a dumpster fire.
Well, you mentioned the economy a moment ago, Congressman. Knowing that you sit on the Financial Services Committee, you know this well. The economy and the data that we're getting about it is mismatched right now with voter sentiment around it and with the administration's handling of it. Can Kamala Harris change that narrative? Because she is attached to this administration.
I think, like anything, it's a reset. It's a fresh opportunity to talk about the good things that they've done, but the work we need to do on, investing in U.S. manufacturing, making sure we're doing everything we can to, to help middle-class families. That's what we're going to see at play here with the competing visions. Trump, focused on, tax cuts for billionaires. He wants his trade policies would bring us into recession, is what the economists say. Compare that with a focus on middle-class families from the Harris campaign. I think that's going to be something that sells in this election.